So, welcome back to our group topics in management. Today we're talking about modern and efficient work and business tips. I highly recommend people to read the 4-Hour Work Week, which we can see here on the slide. It's a book by Timothy Ferriss. It's a very short, simple, easy book, but definitely world famous. And there's also the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And Stephen also talked in this book, one of the habits was managing your time. And related to managing time, he also wrote First Things First, which is famous for Q4. And then there's also another famous person, Dale Carnegie, wrote a long time ago about how to win friends and influence people. I highly encourage all of you to read all of these, be aware of these details. And this link that we have here, this is one of the first PPT that I shared in week 1. I remind you to go through all of this again, because this summarizes a lot of these different books. So let's get into the important things now. What are some ways to be more efficient at work? Because for us students, we understand not only do you want happiness and success for your life, you probably want some grades. And next week is the last chance to get grades. And if you run out of time, if you don't manage yourself well, if you can't present, you don't get the marks. It's up to you. So here are some things that are worth thinking about. So before doing something, ask yourself, can you do it? Can you also delegate it to somebody else? Can you get somebody else to be able to help manage whatever that activity is? Next, can you schedule it for another time and still be effective? Another thing, can you wait until you have enough information or time? And so if there's something that's saying no, then you need to go ahead and start. Otherwise, you should be thinking about, do you have enough information? Is there the right time to present? Are you the right person to present? Either way, you should be living the Nike philosophy of just do it. There's also several different rules. I'm going to be going through several rules, but at the end, the 4-Hour Work Week that we're talking about, it talks about these big colorful slides. Generally, there's just a few rules there. Then we're going to be going through the famous books, as you can see here, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then later we'll be talking about how to win friends and influence people. 6 ways to make people like you around you. So there's several different rules we're going to be talking about. This first rule is talking about dedicate the first 90 minutes of your workday on the most important tasks that would make everyone else to rise, to grow, to develop. And so I've given our class time to allow you to speak up and present and develop. Since there's nobody volunteering to go ahead and present, I'm going ahead, and you should know what's the most important thing. So, Eloise, congratulations. You are the very first one talking today. Can you help me recall what I've just said? What are some of the main focuses that I am going to be talking about or teaching today? Do you know any of those rules that I'm going to be teaching?
I'm sorry, I don't listen to you because I need to mark Elodie and Ima. So
Okay, so your work
I have no listen to you at the beginning, so I can answer the question.
4-Hour Work Week. What are the rules for the 7 Habits of Effective People? What's the list of things to do for managing your time in First Things First? And what are the rules to do to win friends and influence people? Eloise, for example, you want to influence all of your classmates, right? And you want them to be very happy. If we start yelling and kicking them, they will do it, but maybe they will give a very low grade if they're not happy. So how can you influence people to evaluate you is one of the things that we're going to be talking about. make sure you assign the first 90 minutes of your workday to be the most important thing. And then another rule, 60-10 rule. With every 60 minutes, we should realize that our brain may not be working optimally. So in the 60 minutes, take 10 minutes out to take a break. So keep trying to teach, keep trying to give a presentation, but take a few minutes out to allow somebody else to talk so that you can slow down, regardless of what the other person's going to be presenting or saying. Make sure that your brain thinks clearly. So you can talk up, use your technology, you can present something, but every 10 minutes, make sure you take a break. Next, the idea of track and monitor your progress. Some people say that if you can't measure it and you can't track it, it's not worth doing. The only thing you should be trying to do is to do more and do better, or get more and get better. The idea of make sure that you have a sense of accomplishment. What gets measured gets done. Focus on those things. Those matter. These are basic things that you may understand. We're just talking about before we get into the famous books and the very famous rules. So another rule is to double down on what works. Put twice the effort and time into whatever is bringing the best results. We should be aware of Vilfredo Pareto. Who is aware of Vilfredo Pareto? Arthur, how about you? Do you know, how about the 80-20? Do you know any association with 80-20? Julie, you're from Europe. Your neighbor, a neighboring country in Europe, came up with a rule called Vilfredo Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule. You should all be living by that rule. We'll talk about that as we go forward. But Vilfredo Pareto, he did some research and he found that of 100 activities, or 100% of the time, 80% of your benefit and 80% of the results comes from just 20% of the work. So the 80-20 rule is 80% of your results comes from 20% of your efforts. It's the same thing with your activities. If you're putting 80%, if you're putting 20% of your activities into the best 20% of customers, and you just keep doing that, you keep finding who is the top 20% of your customers, because those top 20% give you 80% of your results. So keep trying to develop that. You'll grow much more, much faster. And then think about the general big picture, what you're doing. Most people waste a lot of time on emails and various different activities. So create filters to automatically prioritize your email. Don't keep wasting this 13 hours every week on emailing. Usually it's good enough to just check your email 2 or 3 times a day. So if you have a filter to automatically prioritize things from those top 20% of customers, you will get much more and much better results. Next, make a template for everything you do more than once. So identify what you keep doing lots: answering your phone, answering your email, doing email, or the real work activities. Try to make a template for it so you don't just keep wasting time doing the same thing. For example, with your email, some people usually say, "Love you, Sean," or "Regards, Professor Watts." Don't keep typing that. That's wasting time. Set up your email so that there's a template and you have an automatic signature, and include all of that stuff. Not only does it waste time, but it makes you look much more professional. Next, use the week done type apps that will help you. There's hundreds of apps that may be able to help you instead of just regular emailing. Make sure you try to use the technology to the fullest. Set yourself up for success. For example, if you have to write a quarterly report tomorrow, gather the data, write it down, the outline the day before. Make sure you have everything finished, not just 24 hours in advance, but you should be trying to finish things. And hint, hint, our class is designed that you should finish your activities 1 week in advance. It looks like somebody wants to have a poll. You guys can do that later. I am assigning the class to keep going through the topic, but I will stop anytime we have students ready to present your final presentation. There's a good chance that we may run out of time next week, so I'll help you with that. So set and align your goals. My goals are to teach you. My goals are to help you. I'm teaching you right now the 7 habits of highly effective people, first things first, how to win friends and influence people, and the 4-hour work week. I'm teaching you all of that, but at the same time, I'm making you successful. I'm allowing you to present to you. People with goals tend to achieve 10 times more than people without goals. If you plan, you can achieve success. Failing to plan is equal to planning to fail. Make sure you also have objectives and key results and SMART goals. Vincent, how are you doing this morning?
Good, and you?
Okay, I'm interested. If I just go on and start teaching the new slide about the 4-hour work week, do you understand everything in this slide? Do you understand what SMART goals are?
I think yes. When I see SMART goals, it's like I need to have some objective in my, just for example, in a day. Okay, I got just objective to do 1, 2, or 3. So I need to do that first or at the end. But it's the main issue of my day, if you want.
Okay, that's a good guess. But I'm an old man. I want you guys to realize that when I was your age, I screwed up a lot. I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes. Some of you are trying to start companies. I've started many companies and I've seen some difficulties you have. So if there's anything I'm saying that's fuzzy or not clear, please ask questions. Leverage me. Leverage the other professors around you. Leverage your university alumni and ask questions if there's anything that's confusing. Arthur, thank you. You have your hand up.
Yeah, that was about the SMART goals because S, M, R, R, T are meanings.
Yes, they are.
So, is for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for relevant, and T for time bound.
Yes, perfect. Let me just repeat that. When you are looking at the slide, setting goals, if you just set some dream goal that's related to conquering Mars, maybe something that might not be very realistic very, very quickly, or conquering the galaxy, like the Guardians of the Universe, you probably will not achieve that fantasy. So number one must be a SMART goal, which is specific. What exactly do you want? And M stands for it must be measurable. You must measure how successful are you. For example, Eloise wants to measure the marks she's going to get from people. So we should be able to show the Facebook link. Eloise, you can share your screen, share that link, make sure people go through those details. And then the other thing, after you have measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, and it must be time bound. If you don't have a time number of minutes set for presenting in your week 7, you're going to have chaos. So you don't really get the priority. It must be time bound goals. Thank you for helping teach that, Arthur and Vincent. Now let's get on to the main thing, the idea of this book. It's almost like a comic book, but it could change your life. I highly encourage you to go through this. I have this book. I think I've already shared it with Arthur. Of course, I respect the confidentiality and the privacy and the referencing. So I just loaned my book to Arthur. Arthur, have you managed to finish going through this 4-hour workweek book?
Actually, to be honest, I didn't read it already.
Oh, darn. Well, I will summarize it to you now. And so One thing I'd like to point out is that probably every one of us has a cell phone. And the cell phone is probably internet connected. And if it's a smartphone, you can download videos and watch or listen to them as you're walking to class or walking to work, doing the moderate level things or mindless things. Same thing when you're going to bed, you can listen to something like this video. This video is about a 9-minute video. It teaches the main concept of the 4-hour work week. I'm going to go through some of these basics first, and then if we do have time, we'll come back and watch this. But my point is, use the technology. Your cell phone can help you listen to this. You can download it before class, or if it's a book like the 4-hour work week book, a PDF, you can download this PDF, and there's a PDF reader as you're walking or as you're going to bed. You can click on a technology that it will read. So you can put on headphones and learn this even when you're not seriously focused on it. Arthur, is that clear? Have you used a PDF reader or a text-to-speech application?
No, I have already downloaded in PDF, but right now I didn't start to read it, but I'm going to do it tomorrow.
My question is not, did you read it? My question is, have you used an app that allows you to, the app will read it for you and tell you the sound. It will read the sound as you're walking on the sidewalk. Or
do you mean already in my life once, or
at least once?
Yeah, at least once I've already did it. Yeah.
So the idea of having at least 7 big Scopus journals or 10 Scopus journals with our class, maybe Eloise, next time she starts a class, in addition to checking people evaluate her, and again, Eloise, you can take over the class for a while and check that they evaluate you if you want to show those details. But if you also show the 10 Scopus journals that you have and share that with the class, not only would that benefit the class, but it would benefit you. So there's many, many different articles you go through. And whatever Eloise presents, whatever articles she has, maybe Julie is a little bit interested in those. So Julie might want to read those articles, and Arthur and Ulukbek and Hua or Zanigar, maybe everybody wants to read those. So there's lots that you should be reading. If you're using these apps that can read it for you as you're walking to class or as you're going to sleep, you can get a lot more accomplished. So this idea here about D is for a definition. Divorce yourself from the idea that working yourself to death or hard work is good. Make sure you understand that the best business plans are business plans that are systems to work on their own, not necessarily with you working hard. Many people say hard work will lead to success. Well, there are billions of people, about 3 billion people in the planet living on less than $2 a day, that many of them are working super, super hard. So it's not just hard work will lead to success. It's a little bit of income without actually working. We are video recording this class. Some people turn these videos into YouTube, into online videos, and require people to pay a monthly fee to be a member to join the groups in order to learn. That's one idea that you could do. Spend 5 minutes to define your dream. Again, plan, goals, dreams. Write them down. Spend at least 5 minutes to 15 minutes every day. Spend 5 minutes defining the worst thing that could happen if you follow that dream. Is the possible nightmare bad enough to abandon your dream? So is there something else that you could do? Is there alternatives? You don't need to start with just the specifics of only one goal. Every day, you should be thinking about it. How can you get it? What are you doing today to get your dream, to get your goals? But at the same time, hope for the best and plan for the worst. Number 2, so we're going through deals, D-E-A-L. The first step was the D-E is for elimination. make your best effort and make your best to-do list for tomorrow before you finish today. So when you add an item to your list of things to do, ask yourself if you would view a day as productive if that's the only thing on the list you've got done. So eliminate things from your list. Start with the most important things and try to finish that. And then do the second most important thing. And then you can delay or make many things in your list, but only do those other things after the most important thing is eliminated. So then when you start in the morning, just attack that list with energy, knowing that all of the stuff is worthwhile. Prioritize your things. Start this class, if you want those 30 marks, reserving time for you to actually present and tackle it. Any presentation you have, as Eloise knows, could get marks, especially if you follow up with the marking. So again, today we have Zarnigar was registered to present, and then Jacovier is also registered to present, but it's much more efficient if you do that with specific minutes and hours. So Gulcano, you have reserved Thursday at 4:30 to 4:45 to present your file. This is efficient. Zarnigar and Jacovier, is that clear what I'm saying? How about Sah? Can you give Zarnigar a comment? What should she change on her list?
Professor.
So
The new
should group number 1 change or modify, and what can group number 2 change and modify on this list?
So you mean after listening the presentation, I have to give the feedback for them, right?
No, that's one part of it. That's good. Eloise would love to hear more about it, but I'm just saying here in the green, we have written down green. And so we are planning, we are trying to work effectively, but there are ways to work more effectively. So far, we're not following the SMART. We're not following the SMART goals. We've identified what we want to do, but they're not key, or they're realistic, but we actually haven't shared some things. Anybody? Julie, can you comment? What are some notes that you could add to group 1's reservation or group 2's reservation?
They can add their Google Drive.
Yes, add the link to their Google Drive. Good, perfect. Thank you. Ulugbek, what else should be added here in addition to the link?
You mean class folder?
Yeah, give a link to your folder of materials. Yes, and what else? I like.
And we have to also add Scopus articles or presentations.
The presentation minutes, the specific measurable time that you are planning to present. So I was thinking Zarnigar was going to present right now, or Jacovier should be presenting right now because it is the beginning of class. We are clear that Gulcano is going to present on Thursday, not today. So make sure every one of you is. Stop all multitasking immediately. I may argue with that. This allows you to churn out the tasks way faster if you focus on just the one thing. I myself like multitasking, but I perfectly agree it's best to focus most of your energy on doing one thing. So I am focused. My number 1 task is to give you opportunities to lead, give you opportunities to present. My second task is to teach you these famous books and famous rules for managing your time and life wisely. So anytime you're ready, kick me out, take over. Force yourself to end the day at 4 p.m. or end on a Thursday. Learn to compress your productive time. It's not just being lazy. It's try to learn to do more faster. Try to learn to systemize things. It's very simple to understand when somebody is making a business plan Make the business plan with staff or with automated technology so that it can work on its own and you don't have to keep working every hour on it. So make the business into a system, like an online sales system that automatically has customers buying and products being shipped to them. You don't have to work after you've made the system. But do that for everything you do. Learn to compress activities each day and find out how you can keep doing more. Never ever have a meeting without a clear agenda. Some people are planning to present your business plan, but if you don't show a link to what you're going to present, I'm going to basically block you from presenting because you're not ready. So make sure your PPT is there. Make sure your articles is there. Other people may want to actually see your Word document of your final research paper so that all of those things could be reviewed in advance. And our meetings now are much more effective. Don't be afraid to hang up on me. All of these classes are video. You can watch them online, right? Gulcano, you can tell me to be quiet. I know I can see these details anytime online. You could see these from the very 1st of March and still see these after class. And you can watch these on YouTube. So you should be using this after you've already gone through it on your own time to ask me or ask your classmates more questions that impact your life, that help you. Focus on that. You get far more benefit. Don't be afraid to, ask a question to help yourself. Step 3 is to automate things. As we talked about making a business plan, you may be able to do a, rather than just a rental taxi type of company, you might be able to turn your taxi into a Uber type system where you don't need to own a car and you can still have that same design of business, the same design to help customers, which is automated and doesn't require you to actually work. And we know from Uber that it makes billions of dollars. And the same idea of working with transporting people or allowing other people to transport other people around, you may be able to make a system just to help other people start doing this business, and they could buy cars for you. That could be a system that doesn't necessarily require you to work. So automate your life, automate your email with automatic signatures, automate your work so that you get more benefit out of it. If you set up being a middleman appropriately, you can create a stream of passive income that permits you to make money with very little effort. Is that Arthur or Adrian? Who was talking about the drop shipping? Arthur, Adrian?
We're in the same group.
Okay, can you summarize in 5 seconds, 10 seconds, how drop shipping could be an automated system to make you money without you actually having to work 10 hours every day? Arthur, are you getting excited? I just look like you just did a flip. Are you really excited?
No. Yeah, if you want, I can talk about it.
Sorry?
If you want, I can give a short answer if you want.
Yes, please.
So basically, it's to create a website or a platform that can make you sell products without buying it, without you just being like a non-active seller, if I can say that. You share to people the products you have to sell that you can find on AliExpress or whatever the platform is. And the people just buy your products, but in fact, they buy the products that you sell, that you have found on AliExpress. You sell the products at a higher price, and then you make money without buying anything.
Right. So the idea of automated is, you understand, can you see this? Let's say some people want to sell this chocolate bar. And I could go up to Eloise and say, Eloise, buy this chocolate bar. It's a delicious chocolate bar. Arden, Adrian, buy this chocolate bar. Julie, Vincent, all of you, buy this chocolate bar. I can walk up to you and do sales. That could work, but it requires my time, my energy to go up to you. if I automate it, I can just put a picture of this and description or a video of this in a Facebook page for free. And anybody that wants to buy it, they could click on a system, an automated system, and put in their money, put in their mailing address, and that system could automatically tell the factory that makes this to send it to you. So it's automatic, and it's selling, it's making you money without you actually having to go up to Eloise or Julie or Vincent or Zanigar to make the sales. So start thinking a lot about those. The last part of the 4-hour work week is liberation. Change your job so that you can work remotely. Now with the 2020, 2021, with coronavirus, it's more obvious than ever before. Anybody can work remotely. Let's just go through and prove this. Geographic arbitrage is a great way to enhance your relative income. Time is really a valuable asset we have in our lives, not money. So it doesn't matter that you go to the university. I really don't care if we meet in a classroom. Gulkano, you were in my office, what, for an hour and a half last week, right? So I know you are here in Korea. Right next to you on screen is Zarnigar. Where are you located, Zarnigar?
Uzbekistan.
Great. So there are people doing the same things, but on the other side of the planet. So make sure you're aware of that. And that idea of you need to go talk to somebody. I loved talking to Gulkano, but I don't need to see you face to face personally. You can all do that online, and you can make that Facebook page where you can do this business and sell this online. You can communicate with anybody online. I recall, was it Jungwoo saw somebody in class said they want to involve Elon Musk in our class. Well, that is part of a SMART goal, but to be more specific, not just to invite Elon Musk to join and measurable, how many times have we emailed him or his manager or his assistant advisor? Have we already set up groups of people that might be able to join a meeting? Have we sent emails or text to him? So that kind of thing, you can do those from anywhere in the world. Okay, plan to work smart. Now let's get into a few other good books and time management. We have about 45 minutes left. Is that right? No, not 45 minutes left. We start at 10:30 to 11:45, and now it's 11:15. I am going to be going through. We've already talked about the 4-hour work week. I'm next going to be summarizing the 7 habits of highly effective people and the book First Things First, and then how to win friends and influence people. But I'm also sharing just my personal experiences. However, because we've had almost an hour, I want to clearly let you know that I'm open to taking a break and allowing Eloise to share her screen and get evaluated points by talking about the Facebook post. Or any of you, Julie, are you ready to present your term project? Do you want to get points? Adrian, are you ready to present your term project? You may get 30 points. Ulukbek, are you ready to present your term project? All of you should be. You should be trying now. Other than that, anybody know who Henry Kissinger is? I met him, and I really don't like him. I think he's a kind of a bad man. So why am I promoting him on my slides right now? I've done business with him. He's a very old man, and I think he's a nasty man. I think he might be part. Well, I'm not allowed to say bad things because it's going on to YouTube, but he's not my best friend. So why am I talking about Henry Kissinger? And he has a 70% rule. And what is this 80-20 rule? I've already started to talk about that. Gulkano, can you repeat? What is the 80-20 rule?
80-20 rules is, from my understanding, 20% of the customers gives the company 80% of the profit.
Right.
The business side.
Yes. So why should you care? Tell Ulukbek why he should care about the 80-20 rule. So he knows that he has 100 customers, great. 20 of them are rich guys, great. So what?
20 of them are loyal customers.
20 of them may be loyal. Okay.
Yes, and they will purchase more comparing to other customers. And we have to hold these customers, loyal customers.
Right. Don't forget, sometimes if you have a restaurant or you have a bar and you're selling drinks, maybe you have a person coming in buying 3 glasses of wine every night, but he never buys the full bottle. He's not giving the really big price. And then you have this other person that comes in and buys this 1 bottle of champagne that's worth, hundreds of dollars. Who should you focus on? That regular customer, that top 20% that keeps coming in and keeps giving you steady revenue all the time, almost automatically. That is a much better customer, even though it's only a $7 drink, rather than somebody that's getting a $700, because 3 drinks every day times 7 days a week times 30 days per month is much, much better. So focus on what is the top 20% of your customers. Top 20 customers give you 80% of your benefit. Keep focusing on those. That's one good thing. Don't waste your time just trying to get any new customers. Just improve the top 20%. And what Henry Kissinger's rule is, plan your day all the time, but only plan 70% of your time, because 30%, he says, is always going to be chaos. 30% of your time is always going to be interrupted by somebody. And with him, he's an actual advisor to presidents of companies and presidents of countries. So if the president of USA asks or phones him and starts trying to ask questions, he has to drop that other stuff and take care of them. So he only plans 70% of his activities to keep focusing on some things, and he keeps 30% open for those chaotic, accidental, important meetings. Leave time for distractions and interruptions. Be realistic. Then understand the idea of effectiveness versus efficiency. Do the right thing versus doing things right. So don't just work smart, work wisely. Hard work sometimes is bad for you to do. It's much better to have a business system that will work on its own rather than you doing the work, that type of thing. Prioritize. Alfredo Pareto, I believe that's an Italian name, where many years ago he identified 80% of all real estate in Italy is owned by 20% of the families. And so he showed that to the world. 20% of people own 80% of something. And then he applied it to something else. And he said, oh yeah, that top 20% has 80% of the results again for something else. And then he's realized that it applies to almost everything. There's an actual rule for part of that. For example, if you want, I can show you many different examples of what you're doing. There's always a system. And if you're not following a wise system, you're probably wasting your time. For example, doing your taxes. Everybody in the world should be doing some sort of taxes, or everybody in the world should be doing some sort of measurements or heights or weights. So if you measure the heights in a research project, the height of people is going to be anywhere from like 1 meter to 3 meters. And there's millions of different results, or 8 billion different results inside that range for everyone in the world. And so if you realize that, there's another rule saying that most numbers are going to come back with number 1 being 30% of the time. And the number 2 will have 17% of the time. And number 3 will have 9% of the time. Those laws, if you don't follow those laws, maybe you're working hard, but not wisely. There is a system for how you should work well, how you can get results. So anyway, it's a little bit too deep. Let's go on to the overall ideas. Categorize your tasks. Make sure that you're working on income producing or mark generating details versus just hard work. Don't just do things because I tell you to do them. Everything I say, I invite you to argue with me. I invite you to change how we're going to evaluate them. Right, Eloise? You can evaluate it any way you want. I can give you suggestions, but you should only focus on what makes sense to you. Every professor should be teaching something that just makes sense to benefit you. If not, you're wasting your time. So there's only one number one priority, and that's for you, but it's for each person in the world. Learn how that works. When you talk, when Julie talks to Gulcano, for example, Julie may have wonderful plans and business activities in her mind, but Gulcano is only going to be focused on her things. So you need to identify what are those things that are overlapping. That number one rule for you and the number one rule for the other person is mutual beneficial. So those you can get results from. Those other things that Julie might like, and maybe Gulcano is focused on different things, if you talk about them, you're not going to get results. So focus on that other person. Let's get into the 7 habits of highly effective people. Has anybody ever read this book or gone through this book before? Anybody? Fahim Malik, have you read this book before?
No, sir.
No? I'm showing on the screen, this is a doodly. Anybody know about this? Wow, no comments. So well, that's shocking. This is one of the best management books in history. It's kind of like the Bible. Anybody that wants to study business or management, you should know these things. Number 1, be proactive. Don't wait until the teacher tells you to do it. Start doing things yourself. We have the power to choose and be productive. We are solely responsible for what happens in our lives. There's no fair blaming anyone or anything else. Manage yourself. Manage your own presentation, your own work, your own results, your own income. Now, begin with the end in mind. What do you want? Some people say they just want an A in class. Okay, if you want 100%, I give 100% many, many times. Today, I could give a couple of marks to Eloise for reminding the class to get marks, to evaluate it. And I could give marks for any one of you if you share your PPT or share articles or start talking. So if you want marks, start getting them now. Be proactive. Start sharing now. Don't just listen to me. Imagine that you're at your funeral and listen to what the eulogist will say about you. This should reveal exactly what matters most to you in life. Use this frame of reference to make your day-to-day decisions so that you're working toward your most meaningful life goals. So whether it's Hua or Julie or Sa, Jungwoo, whoever, what is it that you want in life? Are you doing something now? Are you doing something today that's getting you closer to what you want to be remembered for forever? If you die tomorrow, are you going to be remembered for that dream? If not, what do you need to change to start doing it now? Begin with the end in mind. If you just want marks, start getting marks. If you want to be an effective manager, start managing. Talk more in class, communicate more in class. Manage me. I work for you. Next, put first things first. These are super important. So every day, especially with me, you know, I could talk about a million things and I could do maybe less than a million things because I'm now old. Vincent's much younger than me and Malik is younger than me. You SOBs, you have so much more energy than me. You could do more than me, but maybe could I argue I get more done than you, even though you have more energy? And I'll be honest, now that I'm over 50 years old, my reflexes are not as fast as the super athlete Vincent or Malik. You guys can do things with faster reflexes, but also notice you might see more things and talk with more things, and you're used to that. So you work faster than me. But the way I work, I focus on certain things first. And so I'm pretty much guaranteeing I get a lot more done than several other people. For example, income. One of the priorities for me is to take care of my family and friends. So I have income from teaching you right now, but that's not even important. I don't even think about that very much because I have income from other activities that keeps coming in, whether or not I'm dead. So that type of thing changes your life. Manage your lives effectively. We must keep our mission in mind, understand what's important as well as what's urgent, and maintain a balance between what we produce each day and our ability to produce in the future. Think of the former as putting out fires and the latter as personal development. That's very, very important to learn. So that's where we go from the 7 habits of highly effective people. That's one full book. And another full book is just talking about this. First things first. Is that clear? Does everybody, Malik, do you understand what it means to put first things first?
Yes.
Can you summarize it to me?
So we have to be proactive and be a mindset with and focused with our works.
The idea of being proactive, the rule number 1 we see on the page and the rule number 2 we see on the page, that's different. I'm just asking about, what does this mean? Put first things first. That is super, super important. You understand what that means?
Yes.
There's a full book about it. Can anybody explain what this means? Because I have taught it before. I clearly showed you guys some of these details, and I've showed you this book before, but you may not think it's important, so you may not have learned it. Julie, any chance you know what I mean by first things first? Do you know what that is?
Can I say it?
Sorry?
Can I say what first things first
Yeah,
is?
please, go ahead.
So basically, first things first is putting the most important things on the first place, and then doing the rest to be more productive. To do the first things, like the most important things first, and then doing the rest.
Yes, absolutely. So what I'm showing on my screen now, I showed you in week number 1. You should focus on getting your dream goals, what you want in 20 years, and then focus on what you need in 10 years, and half of that time, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, 1 week, today. Do those things to get your goals. Make sure you understand all of those things to achieve your goals. Those are over here in the focus area. Activities to get your dreams, preparations, planning, prevention, exercise, sleeping, eating, meeting friends, socializing to keep a balanced mind. That is the quadrant of quality. Focus on those things first. You only lose focus and go to any other area if it is an emergency. If somebody's hit by a car, then that accident you need to take care of, but it's just a necessity. But as soon as possible, go back to what you need to focus on. And that is not urgent, but important. Malik, please remember those 2 different areas. Everything in your life, it's either urgent or important. Urgent things are accident. Avoid those. Focus on what is not urgent, but important. Always do those things first before you do anything else. If somebody asks you to party or asks you to help with anything, say, sure, I can do that after you help me do these first. That's what we're talking about. That's first things first. If you do those, you will get your dreams. So that's the first things first. If there's any questions about that, let me know. Same thing. Think win-win. I hire people and I try to identify their dreams first, so that I hope their dreams and my dreams are aligned, mutually beneficial. It gets better results. Whenever you're trying to do things, for example, Gulkano, you want to start a business. When you are thinking about developing your business, make sure you forget what you want. What's more important is what the other person wants. And what they want is what your focus should be. If they really care about a pink car, great, go for it. If they don't care about a pink car, if they only care about the transportation from A to B, or if they only focus on safety, that is what you should focus on. So make sure you design your activities so that the other person gets their benefit that they want, not just yours. So agreements or solutions among people can be mutually beneficial if all parties cooperate and begin with the belief that in the third alternative, a better way that hasn't been thought of yet might be okay. So think of some way so that everybody wins. Seek first to understand, then to understood. I start almost every class asking you guys, what do you want? Who is prepared to present? And I'm not just doing it to be silly. I've been teaching for over 20 years. If I just go through this, I know maybe a little bit about Gulcano's dream because she spent hours talking with me about it outside of class. Julie, for example, is a good student, but I don't really know very much about your dreams. If you tell me or start the class showing me what your interests are, I can help tailor these details to help you. So try to understand the first person, the other person, and then go through explaining your details. Most people don't listen. Not really. They listen long enough just to devise a solution to the other person's problem or just as a response to what's being said. Then they dive into the conversation saying what they want. You'll be more effective with people if you sincerely try to understand them first before you start talking. So seriously, all of you will get higher marks if you present now rather than only waiting until the last minute in week 7. And at the same time, I will learn more about you if you talk more. Talk now and talk on Thursday and talk next week. The more I hear from you, the better I can help you. Synergize. Work with others. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. This means that you must use creative cooperation in social interactions. Value differences because it's often the clash between them that leads to creative solutions. So every one of you has an interest in management. Every one of you has an interest in some type of business and being successful. So every classmate here might have some similar overlapping interests. If you work together in a group, then you can assign that other person to get the research to help you get more results faster. Synergize. And then sharpen the saw. Make sure you keep learning and keep developing. That 80-20 rule is crucial. Keep learning how you can get more of those top 20%. How can you get more of those better results? How can you get more of those better customers? How can you get more results for yourself? Keep learning and improving that. Self-renewal. So there's mental renewal, which includes reading, visualizing, planning, writing. There's the spiritual renewal, which is the value clarification, commitment, studying, meditation, social, emotional, stress management, service, empathy. There's several different things that you can continue to develop as we go forward. So we've just gone through the 7 habits of highly effective people. Ulugbeck, can you refresh my memory? What are the 7 habits? Just what are the main titles? What are the main things? You don't need to explain them. Just tell us the 7 main points.
80-20 rules. Yes.
I can hear you, but can you tell what are the 7 different rules or 7 habits to be effective?
I'm sorry.
Eloise, can you help her? Arthur? I'm making sure you guys understand what I'm saying and care about what I'm saying. So what are the 7 habits? Anybody? There's 13 people in our group. Adrian, can you tell us any one of the 7 habits to make you effective?
I don't even know, like wake up early could be a good advice first.
Oh my gosh. Well, habit number 4 is right here. Habit number 5, 6, 7 is right here. So these are the things. Start by being proactive. Don't just wake up early, but do things that make a difference. Don't just listen to me. So habit number 1, be proactive. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. Habit 3, put first things first. Prioritize things. Habit number 4, think win-win. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then be understood. Habit 6, synergize. 7, sharpen the saw. Keep improving yourself. So, Arthur, which one of those 7, can you repeat those 7 and tell me which one you think is most important?
Repeat no, because I don't remember one of the seven. But I would say that for me, it's being proactive.
For you, it's to do what? I didn't hear the last point.
To be proactive.
Be proactive. So point number one. Yes, point number one, be proactive. Go through these. If you do these, I promise you, I guarantee your life will be different. You will get much better results, more happiness, definitely much more success. So go through and learn those, live those. Next, how to work with other people. Sometimes it's not just about money. Sometimes it's about social things, or how to get more friends, or get people to be helpful, or you can help them. So how can you win friends and influence people? There are some fundamental techniques to handling people. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Eloise is going through and looking for evaluation. Some people could say, "Ah, that sucks, that's terrible, I'm going to give you 0." Well, that's terrible. If you do that, if you criticize people, whoever did that presentation is going to hate you. And when you present, they may lower their grade just because they feel bad, regardless of your quality. So always understand this concept. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Try to always be positive. People do not like to admit fault. When people are criticized or humiliated, they rarely respond well and often become defensive and resent critics. We must never criticize, condemn, or complain. It will never result in behavior we desire. But at the same time, give honest, sincere appreciation. Appreciate something about everyone. Appreciation is one of the most powerful terms in the world. People will rarely work at their maximum potential if they're being criticized or if they're not appreciated. But honest appreciation brings out their best. Appreciate, but not simple flattery. Don't just say, "Oh, thank you," and then just go on that thing. Explain what they're doing and why. Like you students, if you do a research paper with a company, I will help you develop it because I know for a fact it could increase your job opportunities and your connections in the future. If you do a good paper and publish it, I know for a fact that that could help you in interviews in the future. And if you've already spent 3 or 4 months in the class to develop the paper, might as well try to publish it. It will help you. Hopefully everybody here agrees, you're going to do a paper, I will help you publish it. You should be trying to publish that even though the class is finished. So work wisely. It will help you. Next, arouse in the other person an eager to want. So get what we want from the other person. We must forget our own perspective and begin to see things from the point of view of others. When we can combine our desires with their wants, they become eager to work with us, and we can get mutual benefit, mutual gain, or synergy. So, Julie, can you tell us one thing you want from class? Anything, any type of dream you have or goal or plan you have, and just as an activity, let's try to think, although you want it, how could we get somebody else in class to want to help you get it? So Julie, tell me, what is a dream you have? What do you want to do and develop?
My dream now is to find an internship for my next year in my university. So maybe if you want to help me, you can help me to find some internship with me.
So she's interested in getting internships. Okay, so we are all a group of people, and every one of us have been told you have to do a paper, you have to do 2 presentations, but it's best you get most results, the highest marks, if you do your paper for a company. So everyone should be researching how to contact companies. And so you, Julie, could identify what company Ulukbek is looking into, what company Malik is looking into, what company Vincent is looking into. And then just by identifying that, then you can find who is targeting a company you might want to work with and start contacting them immediately. I already have executives in Samsung that are willing to say, if you are interested in the Internet of Things, or if you're interested in some high-tech aspects, what they are working on, they will give you the internship from March 1st until the end of courses in June. And so you already have an internship as an opening, and it might help you next year just by doing your classwork. You don't have to do anything extra. Just start talking with that executive. And if you do well, that executive has offered, last semester, some students were offered something like $1 million benefit. So you could continue it if you want. So think about those type of things. How can you work with somebody else to continue to work towards something of mutual benefit? Next, how to win friends and influence people. There's 6 ways to make people like you. Be genuinely interested in the other person. Smile. Maybe I should be giving, thank you, Ulukbek, I see a big smile. Sajomu, I don't see too much of a smile from you. Eloise, you're too focused, you're not smiling enough. If you smile more, you get better results in life. So small things like that. Remember that a person's name, and for that person, that name is the sweetest, most important sound in any language. Remember a person's name. I'm terrible for that. I meet hundreds, millions, thousands of people. Usually I just say, hey, you're the taxi person, or you're the restaurant person, or the education company person. But you need to be more proactive. I need to also be better. If I learn your name and sincere details about you, we have a better connection.